How you doing? Just leaving the Lyon Stadium after that Uruguay v Namibia game, and more rugby news to talk about because South Africa once again have named their team nice and early in the week. Thank you again, South Africa. I'm never going to get bored of saying thank you for that. It gives us so much more to talk about as we wait for the weekend's rugby. Nice early team announcement, this time on a Wednesday, and lots of changes, which I suppose is to be expected, isn't it? Let's be honest. After the brutality, the sheer intensity and brutality of that game against Ireland, makes total sense why there would be a raft of changes. 3 players only continue in the South Africa starting team: Siya Kolisi, Ebenezer and Jasper Wiese. All change other than that. And some headlines. Well, Dion Fourie starts at hooker with Marco van Staden on the bench. Bongi and Banambi given a total week off. Just shows how important that guy is, doesn't it? Keep that guy on ice. Wrap him in cotton wool. You know, don't even let him walk up and down a flight of stairs. He's that important to South Africa. You can't risk anything happening to that guy. So he was one of the players that really did perform for South Africa at the weekend. So I'm just leaving this stadium, and I don't quite know where I'm going. So let's work it out as I go. Yeah, Pollard picked at 10. Then obviously he was going to get picked to play because what's the point in having him in the squad? He's only played 40 minutes of rugby. The guy needs game time. He's wearing the 10 jersey for South Africa now. I just wonder, will we see him at 12 at some point in the match? That would be my best guess. At some point in the game, probably Jesse Creel will come on. Oh no, sorry, Marnie Lebock will come on. And Andre Pollard will shift to 12 because, I don't know, how do you think? Well, tell me in the comments. And while you're there, hit subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. What do you think the actual way that South Africa are going to use Andre Pollard in a knockout game, if at all? Maybe you think he's just there as backup. I think surely he'll be on the bench at the very least. I don't know, just the upside from Marnie Lebock as an attacking force is so big. And Andre Pollard has only played 40 minutes of rugby. I don't know, it'd be a huge risk to put him in. But I mean, people talk, a lot's made of the goal kicking, and Andre Pollard, a very good goal kicker, but I think maybe not enough credit is given to Andre Pollard for everything that he does as a fly half. Like, he is absolutely class. I've watched him a lot in the Premiership the last couple of years where I've been working on Premiership games, and he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant as an all-round option. But so is Marnie Lebock. And actually, when you look at Marnie Lebock's stats as a kicking stats from Super Rugby, and they're pretty good. But I guess it just shows that the pressure cooker at international level is quite intense, isn't it? Everything's magnified. A miss means so much more, especially in that game against Ireland at the weekend. So, be an interesting one to watch. Other selections then. Well, maybe the biggest surprise of all is that South Africa have gone from their 7-1 nuke squad to 5-3 on the bench. Or is it 4-4? Because last week when it was being described as 7-1, loads and loads of people were like, well, hold on, Kwagga Smith, he's a legit sevens player, he's a baller, he's got the skills, he can play back. So maybe it's a 4-4 split. Guess we'll see. But one thing that did strike me is, I mean, nice one. I totally understand why so many changes have been made for South Africa for this team, because that game. I mean, I've said enough times how incredible that match was. You know, if you watched it, obviously. It was unbelievable, the just sheer brutality. So I kind of think Ireland have got the best deal here. Obviously, they got the win. That's the best deal. But not only that, they got the win, and then they got a week off after playing South Africa. That's kind of how you want it, wouldn't it? In fact, when you look at Ireland's schedule, they played Romania, the poorest team in the pool, then Tonga, the second poorest team in the pool, sharpened themselves up for South Africa, after which they get a week off. So they knew they could go all in. The difficulty here with South Africa is they've got to dust themselves down and do the job against Tonga, which I fully expect them to do. They'll get the win. I'm sure they'll get the full 5 points as well. But they've got that balance. Do we rest players after the Ireland game? That's what they have done, and I think really what you had to do, such was the impact that game will have had. But then they don't play next weekend, so that means for the guys that were involved against Ireland that aren't involved this coming weekend, it'll be 3 weeks since their last match, which isn't ideal, I don't think. And we've seen, in the case of Argentina, I think they came into the World Cup really undercooked. After the Rugby Championship, I think they only had one game against Spain, wasn't it, before the World Cup? So their players looked like a team that haven't really played very much. Now, South Africa will have top-class staff looking after their players, knowing what all of them are about. I'm sure they've thought about this. They knew the schedule years ago. So I'm sure this is what they planned on all along. It just, I don't know, if you're a South African fan, are you slightly worried about that 3-week gap for some of the players? Does it shed a slightly different light, bearing in mind that you're likely to be playing New Zealand, possibly France still? Again, we keep talking as if that Ireland game against Scotland next weekend is just a foregone conclusion. It's really not. Scotland have definitely got the capability to beat Ireland by more than 7 points, in which case Ireland would be out. I think I'm right in saying if Scotland get a full 5 points and Ireland get a losing bonus point, or 2 losing bonus points, or whichever it is, no, a losing bonus point, then South Africa could still technically go out. I don't imagine either of those scenarios are going to happen, but it just goes to show that final game in Paris next weekend between Ireland and Scotland, very, very significant. South Africa are going to get to put their feet up and watch that one, having done everything they can. I expect a handsome win against Tonga and the full depth of South Africa's squad to be flexed in this game. But there are a couple of question marks. Everyone's going to be watching Handré Pollard. They've got to get the job done first, get some game time in the legs of some of these players. But here's a question. Out of South Africa's entire team that are taking the field this weekend against Tonga, how many of them are realistically playing for a starting jersey in the quarterfinals? I do wonder if Jasper Wiese being picked at number 8 and some of the guys that didn't start at the weekend still being on the bench, Quagga Smith being one example, does that mean Quagga Smith might be being considered for a starting job at 8 in a quarter-final? I wonder. So I think Jasper Wiese, is his shirt up for grabs? Is the number 8 jersey up for grabs? The team pretty much picks itself, doesn't it? Are the South African squad playing for bench spots in that quarter-final? I think the only one really that's genuinely up for grabs is the fly half jersey. Although I still expect Manie Libbok to be wearing it, which means is the 12 jersey up for grabs? Tell me what you think. There you go, there's a question. Which South African shirts are honestly on the line and up for debate when it comes to the quarter-final? So that we have a real good idea about which players we really need to keep an eye on this weekend. A little bit of homework for you. Leave your comments in the channel. While you're there, give it a thumbs up. That really helps. Algorithm and all that. I don't understand how and why it works, but apparently just pressing that little button that does that really helps. And if I haven't already earned your subscription, I hope I will on this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Tim. This is Egg Chasers. I'll see you on the next one.